Greetings, Terrarians, Khaios here. Welcome back to my Pylon world. This is a running series where I build a themed house, or houses rather, for all of the pylons that were added in Terraria 1.4. Currently we're at the Desert Pylon. We've also completed the Cavern Pylon, and we've completed the Ocean Pylon. Today we are working on the Forest Pylon. So if I just come over to my horrible, ugly wooden box house, and we just fly up into space here, this is where I've started the Forest Pylon. Now, obviously, this has already been started, and the reason for that is I've actually began this on my live stream a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna just tear this down because I want to do something different in here, but while I do, the live streams I think are going to be a good way for me to interact with all of you guys while I start on a video, and that's precisely what I tested out during my very first live stream while I started the Forest Pylon up here. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a forest area within space within these biodomes. I wanted something different than just having maybe a fantasy forest or something like that for the pylon, and I thought it would be interesting to have this built up in space. Now, as I said, I did this a couple of weeks ago over on a live stream, and if you guys want to check out the builds and the videos that I start on my live streams, I'm currently going to be streaming every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. GMT. So the plan for today is to finish up this dome here and decorate it. And then I'm going to be placing houses in these walkways on either side of it. And then to the left here, I'm going to be making a smaller dome with a smaller forest segment in it. And over here to the right, same thing, a little bit larger than the one to the left. Another forest segment in here as well, with some NPC houses off to the side. I had considered doing NPC houses inside of these domes. However, I don't like the way that everything works if I were to place glass in the background and make this an actual interior. You don't have any of the moving objects, like they sway slightly in the wind. And yes, you might say, well, there wouldn't be wind in here. Well, I think there would be some ventilation, which would cause leaves to move. One of my favorite features about Terraria 1.4 is the fact that everything is no longer as static as it used to be. Things move around in the wind and when you walk through them, and I like to carry that into even indoor builds like this. So I'm going to not be doing a background wall here. I'll just pretend that there's glass in there. We could just imagine that it's going all the way around, but I do think it'll look better without it. So let me just get started by building the left and the right domes. I'm testing something new out. I've got a new setup for recording time-lapse segments so the camera doesn't bounce around like a madman, and this will be my first time applying it. Eventually I'll get creative with it, but for now I just wanted to get something set up for a stationary camera. This is all possible because of a server mod made by a friend of mine named Darthmorf. He's been on the channel before when I've done golf videos with him and Chippy. He made a mod that allows non-journey mode characters to join a journey mode multiplayer server. This might not have a lot of uses for all of you, but it does enable me to set up a camera account to record these fixed positions while I build on my main screen. I'm extremely excited for this, and I have to thank Darthmorf immensely for making this mod for me. I'll leave a link to the download for the mod in the description below if you guys wanted to check it out for yourself. But just to clarify, this mod does not give you a camera mode. I'm pulling that off by using a different trick. It just allows you to host a journey mode server that non-journey mode characters can join. I decided I wanted to vary the texture of the floor a little bit. It's really flat all of the way across. So what I'm going to do is actually dig down, because it would be safe to say that these domes would be dug a little bit into the asteroid. So what I plan to do is dig this area out and have the terrain come down and back up, maybe a little bit higher here, and I might even do a small cave rock feature in the middle of this one. But I'll do the same here. I'll get rid of these false foundations and just leave this as a grass and dirt foundation and it'll be implied that this is dug, the metal is containing it just in areas that we can't see. So I'm going to do that to all 3 of these really quick. So as many of you know, we're on the road to 200,000 subscribers. This channel has just exploded with growth over the past year, and we've nearly doubled the size of the channel in only a few months, which just blows my mind. At the time of editing this video, we are less than 10,000 subscribers away from that milestone. Once we reach it, the plan is to have a premiere video where I host another Q&A segment and we work on a special build. Since it's a premiere, there will be a live chat much like my live streams where we can all hang out and celebrate in person, which I'm extremely excited for, and we are very close to reaching that goal. So if you're enjoying these videos and you haven't yet subscribed, I would greatly appreciate you helping us reach the new milestone. You might not think that subscribing means much. After all, most people don't subscribe to the YouTubers that they enjoy because the algorithm ends up suggesting videos to you anyway. And it's true, subscribers don't equal views, and views are what matter most to YouTubers. However, subscribing to a channel that you want to support does help in other ways. Namely, it helps with the algorithm, which sees spikes in new subscribers, and it rewards the channel by suggesting it to new viewers. So I greatly appreciate anybody that helps out. And if you're already subscribed, I can't thank you enough for supporting the channel. Now I want to work on the tunnels where the actual housings are going to be, and that's going to be in this segment here and over the other bridge as well. I think I might go into T-edit after all of this is said and done and move these a little bit closer to the center one. I think it's a little far away right now, but for the time being, I'm just going to grab some more plating and gray paint, and I'm going to run a tunnel over here, and I'll work on getting some glass in there. I think that might look good as well. I just want to get this laid out right here, and then I'll show you the kind of wall palette that I'm thinking about putting inside of this. So I'm going to use some platinum brick along the edges of the door, and then most of this hallway is actually going to be adamantite beam wall, and I'm considering doing it with gray paint. Although it's a little dark and it might look better in white, I'm not exactly sure. For now, I'm gonna stick with gray, but I might change my mind on that towards the end of the build. And in addition to that, I'm going to be adding some accent pieces towards the bottom and the top of the build. So here I've got some cobalt brick, which I think would look really good lining the top of the tunnels. And I've also got some purple rain wallpaper, which is always, in my opinion, a good accent piece. I'm going to line the bottom of the tunnel with that, and on top of that I'm going to place some iron brick like that, and this will pretty much be the wall palette that I'm going to be using. I might do a few segments where I have something in here changing it up, maybe some columns or beams, maybe sandstone might look good. It's a little bricky, so let's actually go with boreal beam instead. And I might do something like these in here. That will look pretty good. But I'm just going to mess around with getting all of these walls done, and I'm also going to go to T-edit and scooch these in, because I decided, yeah, it's too long. I don't like how far apart these are. So I ended up adding a couple of different walls to this than I had originally talked about. And that would be right here with the palladium column wall that's been painted gray in between these beams, and this strip that's been painted cyan, and that silly green balloon. I just wanted a splash of color in here that kind of matches all of the glass and the lighting that I've added in here. Now these beams, I ended up going with the rich mahogany beam instead of the boreal. It's a little bit lighter and I liked that. I like the texture for this a little bit more than the boreal. And then for these light sources, this is just diamond gem spark that's been painted deep cyan with some white painted boreal wood wall behind it to make these lamp fixtures, and they have a little bit of palladium column on either side. Now normally this might look kind of lumpy, but I have echo block underneath it that's been actuated. You'll see here, if I get rid of these, it's kind of bumpy. And that's because whenever you hammer a block that doesn't attach to anything beneath it, it ends up with this rigid, bumpy texture. Now you might like this for the light. It doesn't look bad. It's just not what I want per se. So I just grabbed some Echo Block and some actuators, and I throw those right in here, and the Gem Spark grabs onto the Echo Block, and since I actuate it, we don't collide with it in any way. And that's how I end up with the light sources that look like this. So up next, I'm going to decorate this tunnel and this one as well, make them both valid NPC houses so that we can get the pylon working. One shortcut later, and just like that, we have two valid NPC houses that look rather techy and sci-fi. Now, I do love all of the new furniture sets that are part of the celestial pillars, so the Vortex, the Nebula, the Stardust, and the Solar sets. I do wish that they had different appearances rather than just being recolors, but they do look amazing. I'm absolutely in love with them. So, now that the NPC houses are done, the only thing that's left to do, well, I guess not the only thing, because there's a couple of things that I want to do, but the next thing that I'm going to be working on is the inside of each of these domes. And I'm thinking about doing a small, rocky waterfall feature in this one. In the middle one here, a larger cave. I'll probably replace all of this with stone, and have some stone up here, and maybe some grass and trees growing on top of it. And I might even build one or two small custom trees in here. I'm not sure about that one just yet. And then off here to the side, it's mostly going to be just these trees. I'll add some rocks, maybe a small rock up here with a small cavern system as well. While I'm very happy with how these biodomes are turning out, I do wish that I had more area in the space layer to work with. It's a relatively tiny biome even within a large world, where we have lots of space to build horizontally but almost no area to work with vertically while still keeping within the space biome. I do think that this area has a ton of potential that isn't being realized, sadly. Much like the ocean, it's one area that would be absolutely one of my favorite locations in Terraria, but the lack of space and diversity of generation and monsters makes it rather lackluster for me. How amazing would it be if there was more room in space with naturally generated asteroids or possibly a moon for you to explore and excavate? There could be unique enemies and a boss or two, some naturally generated Martian structures to explore, maybe some space stations or asteroid bases, possibly even a dungeon or a temple-inspired area for you to invade and fight the Martian Queen. There are a lot of space references in Terraria. Martian invasions, celestial pillars, the Moon Lord, meteorites. It would be absolutely astonishing to fully flesh out the space biome and tie in these directly to the game. Honestly, I wouldn't even be suggesting this if the space biome didn't already exist in Terraria. Obviously, if it wasn't up there, we could just say they're coming in from off screen. But they added that layer in, and it's always made me dream of more. I understand that the limits of what Terraria can manage are being reached, and there isn't any planned content for the game in the future beyond 1.4.1, but I still dream that Terraria 2 will someday come to existence, and I hope that it would be very similar to Terraria 1, but with exploring and expanding new horizons. New unseen biomes, or fleshing out ones that didn't realize their full potential in the first game, such as the space biome. Because who wouldn't actually love to see Martians in space, rather than just more harpies and wyverns? At any rate, I'm going to keep dreaming and hoping that Terraria 2 is in the future plans for Relogic. I seriously love this IP, and I hope it doesn't end here. I decided not to go with the custom tree because the same reason why I started over what I did on the live stream, I just feel like the area is too small for custom trees. You can make teeny tiny ones. I prefer to make medium ranged ones, but it would just be too big for this, and I feel like it fits better without the custom tree. So I decided not to go with one. Hey look, it's a heart. So these 3 domes are now complete. All of the nature is in, everything is looking nice and decorated. There is one other thing that I want to do, and that's actually with the exterior. I want to make small pockets of asteroids out here in space. So I'm just going to grab some more sandstone and desert fossil with some gray paint, and I'm just going to dot the area with them. I'm also going to be grabbing some luminite, and the reason for that is when I have this placed down, and let me just place a little bit right over here. So if I just place some with gray paint, it also looks like a space rock. And then I need to move in the 2 NPCs and show you that this pylon works. I actually don't know if it's going to work because this might be a little far away, but I think they're close enough. And now the Forest Pylon build is complete, and I'm rather happy with the way that everything came out, and I hope you all are as well. We've got the merchant living here because he likes the forest. We've got the zoologist living here because she likes the forest as well. So if you were to shop from them, you could see we've got the Forest Pylon here because they're happy. So speaking of happy, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching. That's going to end this one. The next pylon that I'm planning to do will be the snow pylon, hopefully next week if I can keep to the schedule. So once again, thank you all very much for watching. I'll catch you all later. Happy building.